Hi, everybody, and welcome back for week number 2 of Lean Principles. Just want to give you a quick overview this week of, first of all, what we talked about last week, what we're going to be talking about this week, and then give you a little bit of a to-do list and walk through these assignments for this week. So first of all, let me start by talking about last week. So last week, in our first week of this class, we really introduced lean principles, lean methodology, and the general concept around those and how those things are set out to be a problem solving, an improvement, an efficiency framework. And that's the framework part of it is really how I like to view and talk about lean is it helps create this cognitive framework. So like organizing how you're going to do problem solving or even assessing what problems are by using these lean tools. And that's really what we're going to be talking about throughout this class is how do we do those things? How do we assess what's going on? And then how do we apply those tools to make things better? So that's what last week was all about. This week, we're going to start moving into those lean principles and those topics specifically. And the first one is really the basis of where we start anytime we're using a lean methodology, and that's identifying waste. So what is waste? Waste is anything that is not bringing value to your customer, whoever that customer may be. So in healthcare, most directly and most of the time, our customer, in the lean case here, is going to be our patients. We want to make sure that we are creating processes that are eliminating things that don't bring value to our patients. That means all those things that happen that don't have a direct effect on the patients, sometimes those are wasteful and don't need to be done at all. But we need to assess, first of all, there's a bunch of different types of waste, and we're going to get into that here shortly. But we need to assess what is waste and then what is value-added activities, what are non-value-added activities. In that category, that non-value-added is anything that's not bringing direct benefit to our customer. So if we're talking about this from a patient standpoint, there's a lot of things we do in healthcare that are considered non-value-added activities for our patients. However, they do bring value in the long run. So there is a bit more of an assessment that has to go on in that thing. Now, I was talking before that most of the time in healthcare, our patients are going to be our customer. Take a role like my primary role in the health system, running the operational innovation department. So what operational innovation is I'm essentially the lean department. I'm here to help people walk through these processes. But my customer, when I look at my own processes, is not the patients directly. My customer are going to be the employees of the health system. I'm here to serve them. So when I develop processes for myself, I need to make sure that the things I'm doing are bringing value to the employees of the health system, to that senior leadership group, to the strategy of the organization, because that's who my customer is. So you can understand, hopefully, that that's how we need to take that different viewpoint on, first of all, assessing who the customer is, and then you can identify what are waste, what are value-added activities, what are non-value-added activities, according to the customer that you're dealing with. So, a couple of things I'm going to have you do as we dive into this topic this week. First of all, I want you to read Chapter 3 in the Lean Hospitals textbook and Chapter 3 as well in A3 Problem Solving for Healthcare. Have a couple other readings I want to point you to as well. A couple of linked articles here, 8 types of waste in healthcare. That's what we're talking about here. There's an acronym called downtime to help you understand what are the different categories of waste. So make sure you go through that. As you can see, there's also this 8 types of waste. Going to be talking about pretty much the exact same thing. The 8 types of waste, a little less from the healthcare perspective and more from a general, in any other activity thing. You have to have the realization that lean principles come from the world of manufacturing. And so a lot of these concepts come from there. Yes, they apply wholeheartedly to healthcare, but we have to understand that the concept does come from somewhere else first. So make sure you're reading through both of those. Our hospital's ready to get serious about waste. It's just that assumption or just that viewpoint part if we can identify waste, are we ready to get rid of those things? Or are we going to beat around the bush a little bit more from a healthcare perspective? So read those articles right there. Have them linked down below here as well. That 8 Wastes in Healthcare, that one is a video, so make sure you watch through that. So 2 different assignments this week. I'm excited about this one. I'm trying to avoid doing as many of the just written out discussion forums. I know those can get to be a little boring doing the same thing week after week. So mixing it up a little bit this week, that your discussion this week is going to be creating a short video explaining each of the 8 types of lean waste. Going to use some examples. At least 4 of those examples are going to come from hospitals, clinics, or even telehealth. The other thing I made sure to add on here is please make sure you reply to at least 2 peers in that interim time. This is just like a discussion forum. Bonus with this one is I'm not asking you to document your sources here because I'm just asking you to create a video. Note, I wanted to tell you the video note function in Brightspace is something that's available to you, so you can access that and use that to record your little 2 to 5 minute video here. This is all going to be verbal this week, so nothing that you need to turn in on paper in a document or anything like that. The other part I have in here is please make sure you review the rubric here. We'll dive. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh my goodness. So ask you to make sure to look at that as I'm clicking all over things here. Look at the rubric. It has finer details of what I'm looking for in grading that. But that's how we're going to do the discussion this week. Now, we do have one other assignment, and that is going to be a case study this week. So I have a couple of different scenarios laid out here. Scenario 1 or Scenario 2. I'll let you read through those on your own. And what I'm asking you to do is, based on reading through those 2 different scenarios, you are going to identify the wastes that you present. You're going to pick one of the 2 scenarios, identify all of the wastes that you see in those scenarios, identify value-added activity, just as we were talking about, non-value-added activities, just as we were talking about. And what you're going to submit on this is going to be a PowerPoint presentation. 4 to 5 slides, bullet-pointed responses with answers to the above issues. Make sure you include a summary slide in there that just kind of sums the whole thing up there. Make sure you can check out the rubric for this as well. That gives you a little more detailed information of what I'm looking for. But just a 4 to 5 slide PowerPoint presentation is all you're going to be submitting there. This week is all about identifying waste. This is really our first step in the process. As we walk through these 8 weeks, we're going to we started with just the general concept of lean, and now we're starting to get into how are we going to solve the problem. And it all starts here, identifying waste. So that's what we have up this week. Hopefully I didn't go on too long for you. I know it's probably a little longer than I like to go on these videos. But if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I get the emails if you send those to me directly. So that's Rolland, ROLLAND, .Hardies, HARDIES, at methodistcollege.edu. I get those constantly. They come in. I will be looking for those things. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So if you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, I'll wish you nothing but the best of luck this week. I'm looking forward to seeing these responses. Good luck. We'll see you next time. All right, take care, everyone.